What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to explain why you're missing incredible deals off the MLS and everything that you need to do to be able to get those deals. So let's jump into it. I want to start off by saying I have put in hundreds, if not thousands of offers on MLS listings. And luckily, I've been able to land a ton of these deals with phenomenal returns. Just this year, in 2025, I've been able to get an 8-unit apartment complex with seller financing at 3% on a phenomenal deal from an MLS listing. I also just got a 5-unit apartment complex under contract at $350,000, which is a steal for the market that I'm in. And so I've been able to get 15% plus cash on cash returns on multiple MLS listings. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. I want to address the elephant in the room that a lot of people believe you can't buy a good investment property off of the MLS because the returns just aren't there. And I'm here to debunk that in this video. I really believe there are phenomenal deals on the MLS. You just have to know what you're doing. And I think one of the biggest problems is people hop on, they look at the listing and they run the numbers at that purchase price with that scenario. And of course it's not going to work because things are selling at a premium for people who are willing to not put in the work and pay that price. But if you want to find a deal with a good return, you're going to have to take lots of no's. No. You're gonna have to put in lots of hours putting in offers, analyzing deals, but that's what's required if you wanna find that incredible deal with a massive return off of the MLS. First off, you have to have a buy box. It's just knowing exactly what you're looking for and what criteria it needs to meet for you to be willing to buy. Now, if you don't have a very strict buy box, you're not gonna know where to offer. And if you get a counter, you're not gonna know if it's worth accepting. This is where a lot of times we lose phenomenal deals because we're just uneasy, we're unsure, we don't know what a good deal is, we don't know what a bad deal is. Here's the deal. If you are extremely specific in your buy box, you know exactly what number you need to get the property at, and you're gonna be able to say, this is my number. I'm either gonna take it because you're gonna come down to it, or I'm gonna walk. And you're gonna have to walk from a lot of deals, but at least you know you're walking from deals that don't meet your criteria and they wouldn't have been a good deal anyways. The next big step is you're going to need to be willing to put in lots of offers and get lots of no's. And this is what forces a lot of people into the box of, oh, there are no good deals on the MLS. Because they said, man, last year I put in like 10 offers. They were never willing to come down to my price. Okay, why don't you try putting in 10 offers a week? Why don't you try putting in 10 offers a day and do it consistently for 100 days before you start saying, hey, there's no good deals on the MLS? Because you're going to need to get a lot of no's. But imagine if you put in 100 offers and you get just one yes, what will that do for your future? What will that do for your investing career? Where will that put you? And will it be worth it? And the answer is 100% yes. The other thing I want to cover on putting in offers is a lot of times you've got to have a give and take. So don't put in your offer exactly where you need to be. Give yourself a little leeway where you're going a little bit below, maybe $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 below where you want to end so that you can make it painful coming up to the price you're willing to settle for. And again, please remember, this isn't a give and take of like, oh, I'm not happy with this, but I'm gonna come up a little higher to make the seller happy. That's not how this works. You gotta walk away from the deals that don't meet your criteria. All right, now we've got to talk about what listings are going to give you an advantage. If you've pinpointed in on, I'm going to do duplexes or fourplexes, you could offer on every duplex and fourplex in existence, and you're not going to lose anything over doing that. However, there are some listings that your odds of getting your offer accepted are a little bit higher. The first one is getting there before no one else does. This means the second that an offer is on the market or a property is on the market, you should be the first one to reach out, get all the information you need, and put that offer in. And then when you're communicating with that realtor, you want to think long game. You want to say, hey, I'm very interested in investing in duplexes, fourplexes, whatever it is that you're focused on. I have a very strict criteria, but when my criteria is met, I buy. I'm all in. You're not going to have to worry about me. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm pre-approved. I have the cash. I'm ready to roll. So if you have any other listings like this, if this one doesn't work out, please put me at the top of your list and hit me up before you even list it, and maybe we can make something work. This has helped me immensely because a lot of times I'll be chasing an MLS listing that they don't bite on my offer. offer. But then they have another one that's off market that they're trying to talk someone to bring it to the table, or that person doesn't really want to list, or they were just about to list it anyways, but they figured, hey, you can take a shot at it first. This is where you have an extreme advantage because now they know they've got someone really interested on the front end. So they're probably willing to work a little bit more rather than going through lots of showings, dealing with lots of different investors or people. So if you can get them early, that will be huge, especially if you can get them before they're even listed, because you're using something that is listed to find those. The next incredible listing is on the other side of the spectrum. These are the listings that have been there forever. I would say 45 days or longer, you can start looking. But the listings that I've had a ton of success with are the ones that have been there for 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 months. They've just sat there. And a lot of times I will see little things that make it make sense why they have sat there. Maybe the listing is terrible. They're really rough pictures. These are the listings that a lot of people aren't even putting offers in. And the more time that goes by where they're not getting any offers, the more desperate that they're getting. So this is like the 5 unit that I just purchased this year. It had been listed for almost a year. They'd done multiple price drops until they were just under $400,000 as the list price. And I went in, I ran my numbers and I said, hey, I can buy it at $350,000. And they came that much more down to my price for me to get it under contract. So I'm telling you, a lot of times when they've sat on the market, they become more and more motivated. Just to add to this, I'll say I've picked up multiple deals off the MLS where they just didn't really take pictures or the pictures are terrible. And so anyone else looking at it, they just go right by it. Anytime you see something where immediately you're like, yuck, I'm just gonna flip to the next one, go back. Because a lot of times these are the properties where you get inside of them. They're an older owner that connected with a buddy that's listing them. The listing isn't very good. It's not persuasive. It's not set up. It's not really being marketed properly. And then it sits there for a while. And so it gets viewed as damaged goods on top of having bad pictures. These are the ones where you want to go drive by, you want to get inside, you want to see what you're looking at, because there could be a massive upside. And now just sitting on the market has created a motivated seller. Next big thing, find a niche that can give you a competitive advantage. For me, for years, that was just seeing that things were under rented. I could see a 2-bedroom that was being rented at $550 and was filled with tenants in there. And so people look at it, they run the numbers and they say, hey, this isn't a deal worth chasing. Where I knew this $550 unit could be rented at $800 or $850. And that gave me a massive advantage because I had the guts to buy it and to wait until those tenants' leases were up to then replace them with better tenants. So it gave me an advantage because I could push them down because maybe it sat there, but I knew there was a way to add value. This is the same if you've got massive bedrooms, then maybe you have a 1-bedroom you can turn into a 2-bedroom, or a 2-bedroom you could turn into a 3-bedroom. If there's something that's more scary, say the concrete is destroyed, or there are tons of trees overwhelming the property, or there's foundational issues, where if you know this kind of work, say you do work in concrete, or you have connections, or these are things that you understand that you're more comfortable taking on, again, this can give you a massive advantage because you can use it as a pain point that everyone has. Then that's your niche of getting them to come down in price when you're comfortable dealing with those problems. One other thing I want to mention is a lot of times in the listings, they have specific issues, whether that's having a hard time getting financing for this property, or they need a quick close, or they need all cash, or whatever it is. A lot of times they give away what their pain points are, and you can feed off that and find solutions to their problems. A lot of time they think the solution to their problem is lowering the price, when in reality, you have a different solution for that problem, so you can take advantage of them lowering the price, but then you can make it a property where you have a ton of opportunity and equity in the property because you know how to solve that problem better. If there are any problems within real estate you can figure out how to solve for people that no one else is willing to solve, this gives you a massive advantage. Finally, get creative. A lot of times stuff has been sitting there because the seller refuses to lower the price. They're so hung up on this one pain point, but they might own it in all cash and they might want to just get that price. And they might be in a place where if you say, hey, what if I can give you the price you want, but you help me with seller financing, or you let me take over your existing loan, or we figure out some other solution so you can get what you want, but I can also get the return that I want. And so often people aren't willing to just get on the phone with their agent or with them and say, let's work through this. I want to help you get what you want. That's my goal. I know this is the purchase price you want. How can we figure out how to get what I want so we can both get what we want and put this deal together? I cannot tell you how many people will say, all right, what is your idea? And then I'll suggest seller financing at 3%. And they'll say, there's no way I'm gonna do that. And I'll say, okay, well, I can buy cash at this price, or I can do seller finance at the price that you want. If you change your mind, let me know. And a week or two goes by, they still haven't sold the property, and I get a phone call that says, hey, write up the offer, let's put it together. So don't give up. Make sure over everything you put relationships first. Foster relationships with realtors, with wholesalers, with flippers, with everyone that you connect with. Don't be rude. Don't be a jerk. Explain your reasoning behind your offers and be able to explain it so that you can build good relationships with people. And as you do that, they're going to be more willing to come down to your offer. But more importantly, that relationship might come back later down the road where they feel comfortable reaching out to you and kind of putting their tail between their legs and saying, hey, you put in this offer. You were very cordial, very polite. I'm willing to accept it now. Would you be willing to do it? And at that point, you say, rock and roll. Of course, totally understand. Glad you got to fill it out. And I would love to do business with you. And then you can put the deal together at that point. So that above anything else, form good relationships, be a good person. Don't work people over. Try to find solutions. And if you're willing to do that, I'm telling you, you can build an incredible portfolio just off of MLS listings. Thanks so much, guys. One last point I want to add. This is the last video that I'm going to mention the CDS Grand Teton Retreat. Last year, it was phenomenal, and we're down to 8 spots left of the 40 that we're going to have filled. So if this is something you want to be a part of, click the link down in my description. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend. We've got incredible investors coming. We're going to have some awesome experiences, great food. You're going to get to come see where I live, see my properties, experience the cabin that I love and the area that I love, and it's going to be a blast. So click the link in the description if you're interested. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and we look forward to seeing you in the future videos. Thanks, guys.